Hello, everyone, and welcome to this month's community class. It's February, and we are in Brighter Days, Darker Nights. And today we're going to be talking about working online and how we're managing our screen time, schedules, plans. I put 3 questions in the registration page, and the cluster was basically around scheduling and how you're handling scheduling, and the other was around willpower and how you actually shut down at night and don't use your devices all the way until bedtime was the main kind of buckets of chatting and questions and how are we handling this. So for those of you who are newer to my perspective, I've been working online since 2014. Before that, I was also taking online classes at university. So, and then of course in school, like I've just very much digital native, kind of went out to the workforce. I've had a few in-person jobs, but most of my work has been online, which means that I have been through the worst of it. And I've also figured out some things that are helpful. So I thought we could chat about all of those things. And since we do have a nice intimate group today, you're welcome to just put questions in the chat right away or come off of mute to chat about, what's on your mind with it too. Then I thought we could also get into double checking our settings for those of you who haven't dialed in your color filters and everything on your computers. We could talk about all of that for computers and phone. I know some of you, Amanda, I'm sure that yours are dialed in very nicely. No, you're shaking your head no. Okay.
You'd be surprised.
Okay.
So that'll be good.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Yeah, I know it's easy to just kind of like let things slide and go and just be normal. Hi, Heidi. Welcome. And then, next thing you know, the sun's down and you still have your screen on full brightness and you're like in power mode, and everything is just too good to turn off. I found myself there many, many times. I gave myself a rule, which is basically I only let myself pull a late nighter like once every 6 months. If I have a client, they get one per year pretty much. And thankfully it rarely ever goes more that I have to say no, but, I used to easily work until 10 or 11 p.m. every single night. And that was when my circadian rhythm and everything was the worst. All of my symptoms were the worst. Puffy face, allergies, all of the horrible dysregulation that went away when I just cut myself off. And I was like, I don't care if you have a deadline tomorrow, you're going to have to push the deadline. Having that sense, that inner strength to actually say no, even when work is really good, is difficult, in one of the areas that I find difficult with willpower. For others, I know that it's watching TV at night with the family because it feels like something you can relax into. Or more recently, like since everyone has these now, the scrolling in the evening is also really difficult. So what I've found is that getting the red shift really, really, really deep is one of my biggest tools, because it's just not as fun and interesting when the red shift is on, and it's so much easier to pull away from and to engage with the rest of the world. And then so similarly with like Cindy, I know that you work early in the morning, and that was the other thing. When I was pulling those late nights, I was also pulling the early mornings, working East Coast from Pacific, so logging on at 4:30 in the morning. I know that's similar to what you're doing. You get up. And then that was great because it felt great, or it made sense, because then I could be mom all during the day and then put the kids to bed at night and then pull in that last bit of work in the evening. But it meant that I was starting and ending with screen time every single day. Which is very, very destructive to the circadian rhythm, particularly if we have the full-on blasting thing. So maybe we could just get straight into it and make sure that we have the settings right on our computers. So now a lot of it is built in. So for those of you who are on Macs, you do have the option to set your night shift. And what I do is I set my night shift to go on at 11:59 a.m. and I have it set to go off at 11:58 a.m. So my night shift is on fully warm all day, and there's 1 minute around noon where the full blue light, if I happen to be using my device at that time, I'll be like, oh, there's the full blast of brightness, and then it goes right back to being warm. So if you're a designer, you do have to make a habit of turning that off before you submit anything. I have it's like made that mistake a couple times early on when I first started doing this, where I thought that everything was one way, and then realized I actually did it when I was shopping for eyeglasses one time and ended up with some Pepto-Bismol pink frames that I thought were this lovely orange, like sherbet color. And so I had to, Cindy, you may remember when I was rocking the pearl and Pepto-Bismol pink with rhinestones. So yeah, for certain things, online shopping, and doing design work, you might want to have like the ability to turn off your color filters, but generally I keep that on all the time, and then I go into deep red between sunset, and if I do have to wake up early and work before morning, then I keep it all the way red. And the thing that I figured out for morning is also to see natural light before turning my screen on. And when it's happening that I have to get up and the sun hasn't come up yet, then I think that candle or fire is totally a valid alternative. So I love when I'm the first one up and I get to build the fire and get blasted with that warm infrared firelight, and I feel like that wakes me up a little bit more before just going into the static 3D or 2D, right, world. So getting the light is really, really important. Right. So Cindy, yes, I know that's you. You do that, yeah?
I had a question. Are you literally building the fire in the dark? Like you've made your way over to the wood stove and found the paper and the matches and did this in the dark?
Well, right now I usually have the coal bed going. So the coal bed is there and I'm just tossing some paper on there. And so, yeah. And then I have, if I do need a light, I'll be using my amber light. So I really love the beacon light from Block Blue Light Company. It's this little doodad like this big that's USB charged, and you just it like pops on and off, and I don't know, it's just really, really cute and portable. So I will grab that, and it's the closest to actual candlelight. Like I set it next to the candle, so sometimes I'll pop that and then just light the candle and then build up the fire that way. We do have the automobile tape, like brake light tape, covering over the flashlight. So I know that for those of you who don't know, those of us that live out in the woods in Oregon, we are using headlamps all the time. There's no street lights outside, and if you need to go out to the woodshed and come back in or whatever you're doing, headlamps are very useful. So, and I haven't yet found a reliable. I ordered some red light flashlights and they all just broke. So what I found best is just get a normal headlamp and then put the brake light tape over it, so that it's filtering out the blue frequencies and then just the red is coming through. And then that's dim and it's red, and then can get around and then build up the fire and then get on or light the candle. A candle is totally good too. I found some candles don't make very bright light and others make really nice bright light. So I have actually my favorite brand through Azure Standard. They have these emergency pillars that make really nice light. Maybe I'll put the link to those in the chat. They used to be $17 for a pair, and now they're $24 for a pair. So I really save them for the times that I need the light, and it's not just ambiance, but yeah, the candle light in the morning. I just found it makes such a big difference for having a smooth, slow start, and also to being able to break away, because the other thing that really challenged me in the morning when I was doing that, starting with screens first time, is that it just never felt like there was actually enough time before the kids woke up and it was time for breakfast and all of that stuff. And it would be really hard to get my mind out of the machine and into being a mom and then back. So having little rituals and things to go back and forth for those of you who do have children around, was really difficult. And I found that working with my physical body is just one of the best ways, because it just will help break up. So like doing like eye scans back and forth or stretching or like different things. Like sometimes just like putting it away, it doesn't work as much. I have to look around a bit first and then like make eye contact with another human and be like zoning in, like you have my full attention now. And for those of you who are just getting started, so there are totally different challenges with it when you have a little teeny tiny baby across all of the stages for how you can go back and forth between screen time and parenting. Like teenagers a lot of times might just need, like if they're in a big moment, they might need a lot of conversation. A lot of times they just need a little bit of redirection compared with and you know, same with the little kids too. So that is a really big challenge that I have found. If you are working around your children, having a standing desk rather than sitting really helps make it easier for me to be able to like be zoned in on the screen. And then if something is happening that needs my attention, to be able to break away because I'm already standing up, and like, it feels like so much effort when you're down and you're locked in and you're just like, you know, in full on typing mode or whatever. And then they also can come up and they can see your screen and they can tap on your shoulder and all of these things that when you're up, it's a lot more similar to like if you were up there, you know, cooking or washing the dishes or folding laundry at the table. Like to children, it just feels more like you're in the room if you're standing compared with if you're sitting down locked in. So that's one of the really big things. And then also mentally just to be able to shift back and forth between screen time and other things. So I really recommend a podium is a great thing. If like you can get a standing desk. We've tried several different options. One of the things we used to have just like a regular work table, and you can actually get like extenders on Amazon that will lift a regular table up to a standing desk height. They're just like little pieces of plastic. So those were really great because some, I don't know what kind of jobs you all have, but some of you, if you have equipment, you can set up different things that way. You can get just a standalone podium, like I'm sitting at a podium right now that I can pick up and put on my shoulder and carry to wherever I need it. I also have a camera stand that's really helpful for when I do like walking Zoom calls or consultations, and you can put your phone on the camera stand and they have a little attachment to clip it, so then your EMFs are further away from you. You have a handle to hold it and you're not like doing the up and down, and then you can go and find a nice place like, you know, at the park or wherever you are going in your yard, and then drop all of the pieces of the camera stand and it will go to the floor, and then you're holding it and you have a stable cam even though you might be not on stable ground necessarily. So for calls, I really, really enjoy that as a way to just be able to move around. And I find that as a mom, if I have to work and my children are around, having a lot of different stations or portable stations is really helpful because they really get bored when you're just in one place. Of course, having social support is the best, and so having older children to look after younger children, having a spouse around, having a coworker. I've seen a lot of these cute podcasts where they have like the two hosts that they're like together in the same room recording, and then their guest might be remote or might be in the space with them. I have this lovely like vision of the possibility for like co-working collaboratives where moms are getting together and working and kind of alternating between who's the serious one at work and who is managing and setting kids up for activities. But getting them sent into things that are safe and age appropriate is a big deal. I'm right now in the most difficult stage of work, and it's really, really challenging with the crawling. So I know that one of you wrote in, you have a baby that's, you know, super, super young. They're still in arms and you're about to get back to work. That's actually one of the easiest times to work because they're so sleepy. They nap so much, especially once you've had multiple children. With the first, it's disorienting. But it gets suddenly so much harder. Like a lot of offices have policies that babies in arms are welcome, but once they become mobile, they're no longer welcome in the space, because once they're mobile, they're crawling around, putting things in their mouth, the choking hazard, the fall hazard, yanking on cables, becoming so much more vocal, they're teething, they're drooling. So that stage, which is where I'm at right now, and where this is kind of a timely talk for me too, is really, really difficult. And then once they are older and able to start verbalizing their needs better and have more attention span for activity, and you're not worried about them putting everything in their mouth, or if they know how to navigate the stairs, all of that kind of thing, then it does get easier again. So there's always seasons and stages of it. Okay. I've been chatting. I just taught this recently over with Claire Venus, who does the Sparkle on Substack membership. So we did a live talk. I wanted to shout that out, that if you wanted to go and listen to that. We talked a lot more in that audience. I was more like giving the basics of circadian rhythms and how all of that works. So for those of you who are newer to that concept, I think that we have a pretty high level audience of everyone pretty much who's here understanding why circadian rhythms are important. But if anyone has any questions, you're welcome to, share those, and I will get into that. But I really want to be focused on like, what are the practicalities? How are we doing this? Breakfast is the other big challenge here, because I know so many of us just love to get to work on the screen with the coffee before breakfast. And that is something that it feels really, really productive, but then you end up running into the wall later on where you're tired, like maybe get tired and cranky, or like, have a more difficult time with the, having patience for the children and all of that kind of thing. And it's so, if you are going to do that, like I love a morning beverage to wake up. And I found that it's way more stable if I put a lot of like protein and fat in that drink, so that it's like thick, not just black coffee or green tea was another one that I used to do that felt really good, but it's really wiry. Where something that's super easy, even just like a couple soft-boiled eggs, it doesn't sound as appealing, but if you just steel yourself up to it, it takes just about as long as making coffee to make a couple soft-boiled eggs. And then, so if you have those eggs and then have your coffee with cream and all of that, because your circadian rhythm is very much in your gut, as well as the light coming in through your eyes and all of that. So waking up the peripheral clocks. And then some people will be like, wait until after sunrise to eat. And you just kind of have to feel out what your body wants, because it takes time. So I've experienced it where my digestive juices weren't going in the morning and I just got indigestion. But once I got into more of the habit of everything, then now that doesn't happen to me anymore, but it used to. So, but that just helps with being ready to eat lunch. Is that what I've found is if I don't eat breakfast, then I'm not as likely to want to eat lunch. And then by the time dinner comes around, I just want to eat every single thing in sight, which is the opposite. Like then your meals are like tapering and getting bigger and bigger and bigger across the day. Whereas even if it's not a lot, even if it's just a couple eggs, I've noticed that I then am more hungry at lunch and then able to taper off my eating at dinner, and then that just kind of helps to keep my weight ready, and then also so that the way that I wake up in the morning is more hungry compared with if I have eaten every single thing in sight at night, and then in the morning I won't be hungry for breakfast, and especially if I'm just ready to like do coffee and screen time. So those are some of the pitfalls that I've been through that have really caused problems. Like I've had a lot of different successes that I've then just wanted to tear down and like, wanted to throw away clients that are perfectly good, or completely pivot, which was unnecessary. It was mainly just related to that I was burning out from doing this, like burning the candle at both ends of starting and ending with the day with screen time and not eating nearly enough food for what I needed. It's really difficult, but it is really possible. I also have another class that is about specific workflows and how to have a workflows mindset so that when you are working, you're being efficient with that time. Because one of the other big issues is the distractibility. So if you have your light dialed in and your meals dialed in, you're keeping good work. But then if you just keep finding yourself not working on your revenue generating activities and instead working on things that don't actually matter. This is really common for people who are getting started or who maybe don't feel fully like engaged with your work. And especially if you are starting and you're getting kind of frazzled in the middle of the day, if you end up finding yourself scrolling or making plan after plan after plan that you don't actually do, those kinds of things, then the workflows really, really help with understanding. One of the exercises that I have you do in that class, it's in the archive, I'll put it in the notes too, but is like, what are the tasks that you're doing, and then what are the outcomes that you're having, and then just making sure that you're pairing all of your tasks to outcomes that actually move the needle for your business. Because it's way too easy to like spend all your time on marketing or all your time on making everything pretty or